hello there.
Merry second day of Christmas.
Merry second day of Christmas. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me an episode of this podcast.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Sunday, friends, lovers, Merry Christmas. That's right, it is the second day of my balls are flying around here. The second day of Christmas. Today is Sunday, December 26th, Boxing Day for those of you in the UK and anywhere else you celebrate it. We'll have some fun with that idea. And this is 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir. I am Robert Nasir. I am joined as always by Amy Nasir and you know who you are. Today is December 26th, the 360th day. 360 days. 360th day of 2021. You have five days left. Is that what this says? There are 5 days remaining in 2021. Where did the year go?
I'm looking at a calendar right now.
Yeah, check that out while I bring up the chat here. I'm running a little slow on my monitors here. I've got to watch the chat. Always the best part of the show.
Let's see. First on Facebook, we've got Jim Ashley. First on YouTube, we've got Marius. So
excellent.
Congratulations to you two. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're right. Well, not counting today.
Okay.
Whew.
Good. Good. Well,
Yes.
we're glad you're here. I'll tell you what. Last week on 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir, we did drunken podcasting. That was fun. That was a hoot. That was absurd. It was outrageous. And we had a great time. It may have been the busiest chat we've had during a show. It was certainly the most ridiculous content we've ever provided during... so much fun.
Yeah, so I found out that I have 3 superpowers. Number 1, philosophical detection. Number 2, I can see in the dark because I have light blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
And my ancestors were gnomes. And 3, I can hold my tequila.
You did startlingly well.
I had no headache afterwards. No headaches. No hangover. Nothing.
No, and listening back to the show, you drank more than I did, but you stayed the course. You kept it well.
Yes.
Incidentally, of those 3 reasons, one of those reasons is the reason I married this girl. See if you guys can guess what that was. Let's see. We've got 364 days until Christmas. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And 309 days until Halloween.
Yay! Only 309 days until Halloween, folks. Better get on it.
Yeah. But yeah, last week was such a hoot. Incidentally, the winner of the white elephant or white chocolate contest, Bonnie, did send a photograph. She did receive, remember we weren't sure if she'd get it before Christmas, but she did. She did receive her prize, which was good news. Thank you everybody who participated in the contest. That was such great fun.
Yes, it was.
We did incidentally do a Thursday show this week, which if you haven't seen, I'll put the link in the show notes because that was great fun too. Title of the show, and this reflects a little bit on what we're going to talk about tonight. The title of the show was, "And They Lived Happily Ever After."
Aw, that's so sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
I love it.
Oh my gosh, where did I get that? I've never heard that expression before. But seriously, the Thursday show is worth listening to, and we'll touch on a couple of those points. But first, again, today is Sunday, December 26, 2021. The birth date, incidentally, in 1791 of Charles Babbage. This one goes out to all the computer nerds out there, those of you who know who Babbage was. The inventor of the analytical engine, considered the inventor of the digital computer. Because although an analytical engine was a mechanical device, it used the principles that we use in digital computing. And it is his birth date. So we do celebrate Charles Babbage. Link is in the show notes. He also, incidentally, communicated with Ada Lovelace, who was the first computer programmer. Or rather, she wrote extensive papers on how the analytical engine could be put into use using the principles that we now use in programming. And one thing I didn't know about Ada Lovelace until I was putting together the show notes and looking up the links that are in the show notes is that her first name wasn't Ada and her last name wasn't Lovelace, which was a bit of a surprise to me, but it turns out that she was actually the daughter of a poet whose poems we've read on the show before, Lord Byron. Ada Byron was the only child of poet Lord Byron and mathematician Lady Byron. Incidentally, Lord Byron had many children, but they were not legitimate children by his wife. Ada was the only one born of that marriage. She married William King in 1835, and King, who was not a king, that was just his name, was made the Earl of Lovelace in 1838, Ada thereby becoming the Countess of Lovelace. So Ada Lovelace was actually not Ada Lovelace, she was Ada Byron, and then became Ada King, but was called Ada Lovelace because of her position.
All right, then.
All right. So we celebrate the birthday of Charles Babbage today. It's also National Thank You Note Day. Now that stands to reason, right?
Sweet.
The day after Christmas.
Yeah.
And we have a stack about this big of thank you notes.
That I need to write out.
Isn't that gracious of us to have this big stack of thank you notes?
This is huge stack.
That
It's
really,
not this, it's
doesn't
not
that
this
show
small, it's
our
this
enormous
small.
gratitude?
This big, I mean.
We have such gratitude. Except, of course, that we haven't finished writing them and we haven't sent them out. But those are just 2 steps in the 3 steps of getting them, writing them, sending them out.
They're extremely thin.
Today is National Thank You Note Day. So if you needed any impetus to send a thank you note to somebody you've been thinking of sending a thank you note to, this is the day for that. It's also National... Well, I had to look this one up. It's National... It's National...
What is it? Why are you whining?
It's National Whiners Day. Why on earth would there be a holiday for whining?
That's because it's after the day after Christmas. You can start whining again because Santa is not looking. You know, he's resting in the North Pole, and he's not going to knock you down in points for whining.
Oh, you don't think you'll make next year's naughty list if you get your naughtiness out of the way this early?
Yeah.
That's good strategy. Actually, National Whiners Day is really just a day to make fun of whining, to make light of it, to make it clear that you shouldn't be whining. What's the point of that? It's ridiculous. It's just something to joke about. So I like National Whiners Day. And finally, it is Boxing Day. And I didn't know what Boxing Day was until we started this podcast, and it came up, well, now a year ago. For those of you in England, you're like, what do you mean you don't know what Boxing Day is? But for people in the States who aren't worldly, like me a year ago, Boxing Day is the day in which you take gifts, put them in boxes, and give them away. Well, not really. Nobody uses it that way anymore. It used to be that rich people would prepare boxes of gifts for their servants and for the poor, and give them out the day after Christmas, because that stuff, you're not going to ruin your Christmas thinking about those people. But the next day, to make yourself feel better, you would put things in a box, give them to your servants, give them to the poor, give them to the less advantaged. And that now has evolved into essentially a day of shopping in England, in the UK.
Yay, shopping!
So it's really shopping day, Boxing Day. Although Mary Eileen shared a charming, if you're not in our Christmas Facebook group, you should be there. A charming comment. It's the cat's favorite holiday. Of course, because you know what cats do when they see a box or a bag. And so that was charming. But it is Boxing Day. We hope you are enjoying your Boxing Day today. So what are we listening to this week?
Christmas music.
Christmas music. We did share the greatest Christmas playlist.
Rendition, yeah. Oh, it's playlist.
And our playlist, which is at youtube.com/Robert Nasir, look under playlist. The Christmas playlist is there. Links also in the show notes. Best Christmas playlist you're going to encounter. And the great thing about our Christmas playlist is how much of it is swing and classic big band music, which means you can listen to this playlist now between now and New Year's, and it will not sound like a post-holiday list. It will just sound like a party list. In fact, you can listen to that playlist year-round, one of our many gifts to you.
Yes. As a matter of fact, so I do the couch to standing workout still. It's going to be going on 2 years next July.
2 years.
Yeah. So one of our friends, Stephanie, she would say, "Don't play Christmas music." Well, because I usually play music while we're working out. So And
it's,
I'm like,
and it's
no, I
usually
am gonna
rock
play.
and roll music or dance music or new
Yeah.
wave music or
Right.
punk rock music or
Yeah.
something that you would work out to.
Yeah, Mary Aline in the YouTube chat, she knows what I'm talking about. So I put on my Christmas music, and Stephanie's like, "Wait, this is really wonderful. This isn't like Christmas music at all. This is not Burl Ives singing Away in the Manger. No." Although nothing wrong with that, I'm sure.
If that's your favorite Christmas song, we're not ripping on that.
No. This is really wonderful. Ella Fitzgerald and Benny Goodman and Tommy Dorsey.
Oh, and fun stuff.
Just
Louis Prima and Louis Armstrong.
Fun.
And of course, Vince Guaraldi's in there as well. Just
Fats
fun,
Waller.
good stuff. Fats Waller Christmas.
It's the best.
What's the matter with her?
The Jingle Bell gotta. The
Yeah,
jingling all the way. Look at that.
You've got to listen to that.
It's the best.
Great fun. Incidentally, speaking of Boxing Day, Mary Aline said, she points, in case you're thinking this is altruistic and self-sacrificial and why would anybody do it, she reminds us that they get the old stuff. The rich keep the new stuff. Exactly right. This is, Marie Kondo would approve of this. This is decluttering,
Yes.
generosity style.
Right. Why not?
So yeah, I was also listening this week to Yaron Brook, who did an episode on benevolence. It was almost as good as our episode on benevolence.
I still have to hear it.
Not quite, but
Yeah.
but still, he made some similar points. It was good.
Iran, if you're listening, we're ready to go on with you anytime. We can be on your show, and we can totally spruce it up. Give it a little pep in the step there, as it were. Talk about benevolence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, folks, listen to that show. Definitely worth listening. And it's got me thinking about this period. This afterplay. If Christmas Eve is foreplay and Christmas is the big event, this is afterplay. This period, call it what you will. I'm being a little cheeky, but the period between Christmas and New Year's. Because we had an episode called Memento Mori. Remember that, you only live so long. Or literally, remember someday you will die. Mm-hmm. But the point is capitalize on your time. Seize the moment. Mm-hmm. And it got me thinking about Le Petit Mort. Le Petite Mort. The Little Death. I think probably most of our listeners know what the Little Death is. It's a reference in French to the climax of the sexual activity.
But actually, it means the brief loss or weakening of consciousness.
Yes.
But it also it also means orgasm.
Does
in
anybody
French.
in orgasm feel they're losing consciousness? It's an elevated state, but
right. I don't
losing
understand.
consciousness?
I don't understand.
But I know people write about it that way. There are some people who are just lost when they're in that moment. Well, you kind of are, but you kind of are more present than ever.
Right.
In any event, the point is live now, for tomorrow we die. But also, you've got to think about tomorrow, because tomorrow's right around the corner. And yet, you should eat dessert first, because, nothing is certain. And this period between Christmas and New Year's is going to be exactly that kind of period where we make that gear shift. And we want you to change gears along with us. Right now, you should be relaxing. You should be living comfort and joy. And that's what we're doing. Christmas was amazing, other than one little disappointment. It was great. It was perfect. It was magnificent.
Yes.
All of our friends, all of our family, almost all of our Santa Clauses. Almost were perfect, magnificent. And the shows that we did before the holidays were just so much fun. Again, especially the chat. Y'all are the best. Mm-hmm. And yet, we're coming up on New Year's, and we're going to be talking about that. Not much tonight. We'll talk a little about it tonight, but New Year's is coming, and we want to make sure. What did I say about 2021? Your best year yet. Why do I use the word yet? Because 2022 is right around the corner. People are already making jokes about it. You've probably seen the meme going around, the shocked and horror person who realizes that 2022 sounds like saying 2022. And, as if we're going to live that all over again. But 2022, as good as 2021 was, and I'll be doing a recap, not tonight, but next Sunday. 2021 was amazing. We took a difficult situation in a lot of ways, made it magnificent. And I love that people have shared in our chat and people have shared on the socials, the social networks, Facebook and Twitter, and friends of ours on other unusual social networks have told us what they've been doing. And think of the kind of photographs that Petya posts in the evening. Where she lives, she just seems to be surrounded by beauty. And high achievers like the Azales, Hilleli and David are out hiking 12 miles, and they're just rock solid and in great shape, and they look happy as you can imagine. Friends like Rob, who've kind of gotten off of the social networks, but he's out there making amazing things happen, and just got, did he get married or engaged? No, he did get married. All these great things are happening in 2021, and people are still talking about it like these are hard times. And they are. Hard times in 2021, a lot of COVID stuff, a lot of stuff we tried to do to get not the masks and all that, but vaccinations and making some wise lifestyle choices and taking good care of our own health so that you don't have those comorbidities that make it even more serious for you. But all that aside, it's been such a magnificent year, and here at Studio Nasir, it also has been. We've had great fun with the podcast. Mm-hmm. We picked up the second podcast with the Ayn Rand Center UK, Life on Earth, and that has been great fun. But 2022 is going to be amazing. So as we enjoyed our Christmas, and much gratitude to all the friends and all the family, especially John, who we spent Christmas Eve with, and our good friend Paul, and all the people in his circle who came by the house. And then, of course, Mark and Echo and
Sean
best
today.
Friends, supporters of the show,
We're going to be
best people you ever want to meet, friends and
yeah.
family, both at Christmas breakfast and Christmas dinner.
Yes.
And then today, you all know Sean Albert because he's been on the show.
Yes.
That amazing teacher at the Henry Ford Academy came by the house today. We had a little more Christmas here, including the flaming plum pudding with the special sauce.
Right, yeah. So I had one of those really nice little tiny Walker's Christmas puddings. Basically the fruit and the molasses, and it tastes like a strange fruitcake. But you heat it up, and then what you do is you create hard sauce for it, which includes confectioner's sugar, butter, rum, vanilla, freshly grated nutmeg, and allspice. Maybe one other ingredient. But anyway, you blend all that together, and you make this amazing hard sauce.
But you don't put it on there yet.
Yeah, so what you do is you take I took a little shot glass, half a shot glass of rum, and then you take the plum pudding, you put it in a safe area away from any flammables.
So you can tell what's coming here.
You pour the rum on it, and then you take a lighter, and it lights all into this really pretty, beautiful dancing flame. It is so beautiful. Anyway, we have a video of that we can share on the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook group.
We'll be sure to do that.
And be sure to do that. And so that's going to be there later. And then we ate it with the hard sauce. So we cut it. We poured the hard sauce on it. And the hard sauce was so good. It was actually better than the cake itself or the pudding itself.
The sauce is not hard. It's hard as in hard liquor, hard alcohol.
Yeah. It's not soft sauce.
Yes, yeah. Well, Petya's already asked for the recipe.
Oh,
so you'll
yeah,
have to be sure you point
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
point to a link of that or share it.
It was very easy to make. The biggest thing, really, you just have to make sure that your butter is it's well whipped. So in other words, it's very malleable. It's not melted. You can't have it melted. But so that can go with the confectioner's sugar and then be blended well. So.
Oh, sorry, I'm catching up on the chat.
Yeah,
Such good stuff.
The chat is so fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. That's your Christmas present to us.
Yes, and a little risque, but that's our own fault because we started on that. So again, Christmas time to celebrate the post-Christmas after play, or the after party, let's say. And we've got more friends coming to visit over the holidays. I hope that all of you do too. And then New Year's Eve, we celebrate the successes of 2021. New Year's Eve is coming. It's right around the corner. I'm sure in our Thursday show we'll do something New Year's Eve related. But then, New Year's Day.
Yes.
New Year's Day, the day in which we get to plan out the next year. And I'll give a report, but I can give you the report. I've mentioned it a couple times the last few weeks of 2021's New Year's resolutions. My financial goals were unmet. And so I'm going to make some radical changes in 2022 on the finance side. Before I make any promises on the show about, quadrupling the viewership or six-figure incomes, I do a little more planning on that, a little better idea exactly how I'm going to execute. Fitness goals, mostly achieved. Weight-wise, I'm still 5 pounds north of where I promised I would be by the end of the year. We could take bets on whether anybody thinks I can lose 5 pounds in 5 days. I've done it before. It can be done, but I don't think I really want to do it over the holidays. I am loving too much all of the treats. So many treats. But that does relate to the final goal, the one goal that I will definitely meet and handily, which is 2,000 miles on the bicycle in 2021. So I went out today to make sure that I would not fail and put in 21 miles. I've got 8 more to do. If I can't do 8 miles in 5 days, or 4 days after today, then that would be a shame. But that's going to happen. So good stuff. I even posted that publicly on my Facebook wall for anybody who wants to follow along at home. And I don't have a fancy bicycle. I ride old 10 speeds. So if any of you are bicycling enthusiasts and are wondering, oh, what kind of bike have you got? No, it's an old Volkscycle, an old 10-speed. Actually, I've upgraded it to be a 12-speed. But anyway, that will be the one goal that will be reached by the end of the year. And it's just got me thinking about our time is limited, our values are important. We have this week to settle down in the moment and enjoy what we've already done and what we've already achieved and the values we already hold and the people that we already love. But starting January 1st, we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna do the memento mori. We're gonna remember that our time is finite. We're gonna figure out, as great as this life is, what more do I want out of it? And how am I going to make that happen?
Yeah.
And that is coming right around the corner. I posted earlier on Facebook, one of the hardest lessons for me to learn, one of the hardest lessons to accept was, to those who truly love you, your own happiness, your happiness, is the greatest gift you can give.
I love that.
Now, we've talked about love. We've talked about romantic love and familial love and passionate romantic love, eros and agape. And one of the tests of love, Robert Heinlein said this, is love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. It's common formulation, pop music, If mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. But the not the opposite of that, but the true converse of that. If you look at that from the other direction, the greatest gift you can give somebody who truly loves you, if your happiness is essential to somebody who loves you, the greatest gift you can give them is to achieve your own happiness. Those of you who are parents know this. One of the greatest miseries in your life is when your children grow through a period of misery. It's one of the hardest things to take is when your kids are unhappy. It's one of the few things I feel some twinge of guilt about my own childhood, because I had unhappy periods. And then, that's hard enough, and nobody wants to be unhappy, and oh man, all the stuff we went through. But then I have to realize, oh yeah, my parents had to watch that. My mother had to see her son be unhappy. And now as a parent, I realize, oh wow, that's hard. And the only reason I mention that on December 26th, the day after Christmas, during this week of downtime, of downshifting, of comfort and joy, and thinking about what do you want next year to look like, is that can be fuel for your own value pursuit. And that looks a little different to you young folks and to you people in your middle years and to you folks who are a little older. But if you need any inspiration, if you need permission, if you need a swift kick in the ass to do what you have to do to achieve your values, to live your own best life, and ultimately to achieve your happiness, then it just might be worth remembering that to those who truly love you, the greatest gift you can give is your own happiness.
Yes, to have them see you be happy.
Yes.
And not obviously, not in a phony way, not just because you feel that they expect it. But it's a wonderful thing to have that visible, to have your own happiness visible to your loved one, and it really makes life worth living. I'll just say that. It's one of the greatest rewards you can ever have. It's that whole concept of other human beings are the best things to have around you. As a human being, other human beings who you can relate to, who you can love, who you can value, are the best. They are the best gift. Yeah.
To the objectivists in the audience will often say, well, you need to be selfish. Well, that's true. You need to you have to be, you are at the top of your hierarchy of values. What's number two? What's the second thing in your hierarchy of values? Some people will actually say something like, well, my car, my guitar, my this, my that, until they realize, oh, wait, the number two thing in my hierarchy of values is everybody else. Mm-hmm. Other people are the second greatest value in your life. And sometimes they're the greatest value in your life. There are some of us who would, stand in front of a bullet for our child. So yes, absolutely. Incidentally, there's some great stuff going on in the chat. We've got to go through that before we even think about winding down here.
Right, I was about to say that.
Yes.
Yeah. So over in, Jose, thank you so much. He says biking. It is good to have two bikes. One road bike and one single speed or mountain, yep. and one with drop down bars and one with horizontal. So you can change your posture and avoid too much ache. Well, that's interesting. Now, I said it. That's what Robert has. I mentioned that to you, Jose. But Robert just has basically a 10-speed.
No, I've got exactly what he's talking about. Because
really?
My 10 speeds have the drop bars.
Oh, that's right.
And the mountain bikes don't.
Yes.
And yes, there are multiples. My bicycles are like my guitars in that I have a lot of them for a lot of different purposes. And for that reason, most of them are not very expensive. They're not fancy bikes. But yes, I have exactly that, both the mountain and the road bikes. And that's why I made the commitment this year, 2021, to ride every other day, no matter the weather. Well, if you're a cyclist, or like me, if you're not a cyclist but you're a bike rider, you can't ride a bike in the snow or in the rain without it rusting like crazy. And you have to use a lot of goo to keep it from rusting up. And you spend a lot of time getting it running right again after riding it in the rain. And that's exactly what I've done. So I've got a bike that's specifically for lousy weather. And then, after a couple of months when it starts getting rusty or, chain slips on the gears, lube it all up again. So Jose's right. You need more than one bike if you're serious about this stuff.
So we have Marius on YouTube and Jim on Facebook talking about my gnome ancestry.
Your gnome ancestry? Because of your blue eyes?
Yeah, Jim says that I'm from a family line of tequila-drinking philosophical detective gnomes. This is true, actually. And so I told him, I think I'm going to go ahead and put that on LinkedIn as my description.
That will make people eager to hire you and meet you. Actually, I bet it would, because that makes you much more interesting than the average candidate.
I love it. And Jim on Facebook, he says, National Whiners Day, a day held in honor of James Taggart, who mastered the art of whining about the whole universe.
Don't bother me. Yes.
Don't bother me. Yes. And, and I went ahead and I posted the hard sauce for plum pudding. Or bread pudding. You can use it for either. Or you can put it on anything, as a matter of fact.
If it's got enough rum in it, you can put it on anything.
You can put it on anything you want. You could, Just don't put it in a spaghetti. Just don't do that. No.
Well, it's a free country.
But yeah, it's these are great. These are great little things here. So, Robert, you mentioned that we met a couple of Santas.
Yeah,
And,
before we wrap up, we have to tell the Santa story. Just as a cautionary tale.
This is a cautionary tale, folks. Okay. So, usually every Christmas, we visit Santa, Robert and I, or at least me. I think I started doing this like 15 years ago, and I would go up to Santa and I would say something like, something philosophically profound, or, Santa, I would like to have a separation between state and economics, please. Just like we have a separation between church and state. And Santa would say like, oh, well, that's really interesting. I'll get right on that, And
when Santa was having a good day, the answers were at minimum gracious and sometimes very insightful.
He would at least say, oh, yes, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. And we shall see what the elves can do.
That's right. And we've talked to Santa many times. In many different places, we've gone to fairs and exhibitions and shopping malls, and where Santa is, that's where we're going.
And never have we ever run into a grumpy Santa.
No, not a cynical Santa.
Or a cynical Santa.
Because you really
like
can't.
No.
Even if it's a mall Santa, they've been to Santa school. They know better. We go to 12 Oaks Mall, and if you know Michigan, 12 Oaks is a nice mall.
Yeah, it's a big mall.
It's not quite, like Lakeside or Summit Place, but it's nice.
It is
and
a nice
Santa
mall.
There is, Santa knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we even went there last year, and we all had masks and everything like that. And we just need to make sure that Santa was doing okay. Because,
so we go to Santa, and we're talking to Santa. Wait in the line, get up there with Santa, talk to Santa.
Picture.
Santa, what Amy's looking for this year is.
Well, can I tell this because I asked him.
Sure.
Yeah, so I went to Santa.
I think you remember it different than I do.
I'll give you the really quick version of this. I turned to him and I said, Santa, people have been very conflicted and have been arguing quite a bit this year.
Yes.
And I am wondering if you might be able to work some of your Santa magic to bring them some patience and understanding, get them to actually sit down with each other and reason things out, and to use their power of rationality. And this imposter then turns not to me. He turns to Robert and he says...
Now you have to imagine this. He looks like Santa.
Yes.
And he's up there. He's on the throne. We're sitting right next to him. This guy, you'd swear he was Santa. So what does Santa say when you ask him for this bit of Christmas magic?
He says, so you want me to fix stupid? And I couldn't believe what he said.
And as he's saying this, he looks at me like, I'm going to think this is a really clever thing that he said.
Like we're supposed to say, ha, 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 we're all cynics here, Santa.
And we're like, wait a minute, this isn't the real Santa.
And I turned to him and I said, Santa, no, I want you to make people more patient with each other and do something, sprinkle some Christmas magic around and help people out.
Now, in the moment, we didn't object as strongly as that. We stayed gracious.
Yes, we did.
We conducted ourselves
well. On top of that, I was aghast and I didn't know what to say.
Well, mostly, we just wanted to get the photograph taken and wrap it up because we were done with this guy.
And he was like, see you in 4 days.
Yeah,
sure. And sure.
Yeah, like
goodbye.
the mayor of the city of Detroit's going to give you the key to the city like he does every year. No, you're not the guy.
No. Imposter.
Yeah. There are people who, in their profession, aren't sure they're up to what they're doing. And it's sad because they're good, they know what they're doing, but they experience something called imposter syndrome. They see their own weaknesses and failings and think, these people think better of me than I really am. This guy didn't have imposter syndrome. This guy was he should have felt imposter syndrome. So, basically, you want me to fix stupid.
It's like, what is that,
like,
Santa?
Physician, heal thyself. What a disappointment.
Yeah, heal thyself, Santa.
Unacceptable.
Stupid Santa. Bad Santa.
Yeah, Gerard says, LOL, no bad Santas. That's right. Maybe it was that movie that made people like this think,
right.
Oh, people get a kick out of the idea of a bad Santa. They'll think this line is funny.
I couldn't believe it. So,
Yeah.
Christmas Eve comes around, and we still haven't visited another Santa because you know what? We need a fresh start here.
Well,
we need to get off on the right foot again.
Well, actually,
Uh-huh.
the next day,
Mm-hmm.
we decided we would visit another Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? Do we give up on Santa? You never give up on Santa.
Right.
Some imposter comes along, you don't give up on
No,
Santa.
no.
You might give up on the idea of seeing Santa at the mall, but what we did is we went to another mall.
Mm-hmm.
A smaller mall, not a fancy mall,
Yeah.
but a mall we'd been to once before to visit Santa.
Yes.
We had a great experience, and we thought, we need a palate cleanser. We need to wash the bad taste of bad Santa out of our mouth.
Yes.
So we go to the mall, stand in a line
For an hour.
for an hour. And it's a smaller mall. We would have thought maybe the Santa would be less busy, but no, we sat in a line 4 times as long as we did the first Santa. And this Santa knew what he was doing. This was Santa.
And I
was
was
really
leery.
Santa.
I was okay. So I was there. Right before we went up, I was a little nervous, and I told Robert. I said, "I am a little bit jittery about this. I'm not entirely
if
sure
you
what
get
to
let
say."
down twice in a row, that would really hurt.
I know. So and then Robert assured me, and
Oh yeah, if it's really Santa, he's gonna.
yeah,
No
and,
problem.
And Robert said, that maybe we should just make it a little bit more of a vague statement, a little bit general, and say maybe you can spread some extra Christmas cheer, And so we went up there and we got to sit with him, and everybody was really nice. First of all, it wasn't like the other mall. Everybody seemed very, very nice, and this Santa. He was quite elderly. He was quite elderly and everything. And the first thing I asked him, I said, "Santa, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Have you been having a good year?" And he turns to me and he says, "I have had a very happy year." And I was just so tickled.
And what did I
so
say?
happy.
What did I say at the beginning of this show? To those who truly love you, your happiness is the greatest gift you can give.
I was so happy to hear that he was happy and having a great day and had a great attitude and he enjoyed himself and he really meant it. He seemed very grateful. He almost seemed childlike in a way, and it was just so adorable.
You think of Gail Wynand and Howard Rourke out on the... they're talking, they're having one of those conversations they had, and at one point, Gail Wynand acknowledges to Howard Rourke, he says, "I haven't always liked being Gail Wynand." And then a little bit after that, he says, I'm going to break my own private rule and ask you a question. Have you always liked being Howard Rourke?
Yes.
And Rourke doesn't answer. He just gets the look on his face. And Gail Wynand looks and says, you've answered. And to see a happy Santa, to see a Santa who is glad to be doing that job,
yeah,
that's what we needed. So that was enormously heartening.
Oh, it was so good.
So don't ever let a bad Santa get you down.
Right.
Because the imposters might be out there, but they're not important. They don't matter. Be like Howard Rourke and say, "But I don't think of you bad Santas."
Yeah, and and then Robert turned to Santa and said, "Well, Santa, we're hoping that what did you say to him? We're hoping that you would spread a little extra Christmas cheer."
Yeah, just sprinkle a little extra magic. Things are hard out there,
yeah. And he was all for it.
And
He's
he was.
like, he will do that.
Yeah.
And he was not wishy-washy whatsoever. He was confident in his Santa abilities to spread Christmas cheer.
Yeah, that's right. None of the bad Santa. Mary Eileen rightly says that bad Santa needs an NVC course, nonviolent communication. Put him through one of those workshops where, look, here are things you don't say. This is not cool. It's just not fun. So that was good.
Oh, it was so funny. So,
it's funny when I make an observation, and I'm sure this isn't unique with me. Everybody knows this in a way, but to those who truly love you, your happiness is the greatest gift you can give.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I start seeing that everywhere, and I see it with Santa Claus. I see it here on the show. Amy and I have seen it with each other over the holidays. We've seen it with our friends and family. And if that insight has any value to any of you, then that is one of my Christmas presents, besides the amazing Magic Christmas playlist that you've absolutely got to listen to all of our favorite
Yes.
Christmas songs on YouTube.
And if you haven't heard our interesting rendition of Jingle Bell Rock, the Bobby Helms version.
Oh, we do have Jingle Bell Rock.
Yeah, Robert and I did a lovely video, and we played different parts. I played bass and drums. Robert sang vocals and did the guitar work. And there was other things going on in there too, and everything. So
Is that all I did was sing and play guitar, and you got to play bass and drums?
Well, you also played Jingle Bells.
Oh, we did ring the jingle bell. We both rang the jingle bells.
And
that's true.
yeah,
I feel let down. But that's
You're good.
But that's why for Christmas from the dollar store, I've got the recorder here.
Oh.
Okay, the low
So
notes are a little rough on the
beautiful.
dollar store version of a recorder, but the top notes are okay. I will record a video using the musical instruments I've received for Christmas.
And
there
you
are
received
several.
many. You received a lot of
They're-
musical instruments.
All 4 of them are very quirky. It will be the quirkiest music video ever, but again, since Amy played multiple instruments on this Christmas video, that's why I received the dollar store recorder, but Amy received the double bass drum pedal. So
Yes.
we'll do something with that as well.
Oh
She's
my
ready to
gosh.
be hardcore, ready to do the heavy metal.
I can finally play some minor threat songs, everybody.
Punk
Some
rock with
minor
that
threat
double bass
songs.
pedal.
Oh, that's so amazing.
You watch. It's coming soon.
It's the best.
So the one question I meant to ask and didn't, but maybe somebody's already mentioned it because it was the show title. What did Santa bring you for Christmas? Did you receive anything from Santa? And, interpret that from Santa in any way you choose. What did Santa bring for Christmas? Let us know while I do my wrap-up notes here. Let us know what Santa brought you for Christmas. We would love to know. Again, Life on Earth with Robert and Amy Nasir on the Ayn Rand Center UK channel. Thursdays at 5 o'clock. We will do a show before the new year. We'll talk about the new year. We'll talk about resolutions. Should people even make resolutions? If you're rational, shouldn't you, as soon as you figure out you need to make a change, you just start making the change? Or is there a place for New Year's resolutions in the life of a rational or even a reasonable individual? And then by next Sunday, it will be 2022. We'll talk about the new year. We will talk about what we're planning on doing in the new year with both our personal lives, because of course we let you know it all, but with the show, with the podcast, with the other podcast, what the future looks like. There are some interesting things we're going to do, and we'd love to take you on some of those journeys with us.
Yes.
And that is coming next Sunday, January 1st, 2022.
No, just say 22. I'm just going to call it 22, not 20 in the front of it.
It will be the Roaring 20s will take off in earnest.
Yes.
Yes.
And we get a question from Marius, who's in the YouTube chat. He asks, you asked which of the 3 listed attributes led you to marry Amy, Robert. But I'm not entirely sure what you mean. But the 3 attributes that I had talked about, my special superpowers, number 1, philosophical detection. Number 2, I can see in the dark. And number 3, I can handle tequila. And Robert
So
said,
which of those 3 do you think it was, Amy?
well, I'm going to take a wild guess. And I'm going to say number 1, philosophical detection. Am I right? I don't know.
Well, that's the serious answer, but I was going to go with the blue eyes.
Oh.
Look at those eyes.
It's the blue eye if you can see them behind the glasses.
Yes.
Yes.
The romance is obvious. That's why I also received a wed woes.
A wed
How
woes.
romantic.
How romantic.
But wait, if I hit this button here, watch this. It lights up.
Oh my god.
A lot of people have a red rose for Christmas, but do they have one that lights up? Dollar store Christmas was so much fun.
And Jim
Obviously, the double bass drum pedal wasn't from the dollar store.
No. I did actually get a we should have put that down. Had that come down from the tree, but Roberts, tell him about your favorite gift that I got you.
Oh, the firearm.
Yeah, I got a firearm.
I received a gun. Well, it was a gun from the dollar store, and it's orange and made of plastic, but it actually works. It shoots. It pops.
It's got the little round plastic caps that can just pop in
it's
there.
a cap gun.
It's so
I got a
great.
cap gun for Christmas.
And when you shoot it,
I don't need another real gun. I got a cap gun.
A little spark comes out, and there's smoke that comes out, and then you smell it. It's really amazing.
And you can go around shooting. I can't go around with the real pistol and shoot things in the house. That is not good. But I can. This gun, I can shoot it anytime I want, at anyone I want.
Yeah,
And,
I think I'll redo the drywall. Boo, 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 boo. No, you can't do a real gun in the house. But
Definitely
yeah,
one
but
of the best.
This particular gun, it's really quite. It's got the Christmas magic.
Yes.
Christmas magic gun. Yes. Jim writes. Sometimes, okay. He's talking. He always says. He always gives the nice compliments here, in the comments. Sometimes merely witnessing something being happy, or someone being happy, can be an unintended or unconscious gift from that person to you, because they are presenting you with evidence that maybe you too can achieve happiness and serenity. It happened to me once, and it was a gift from the person I had only recently met. It was an expression on her face when she was looking out the window of the shuttle we were on that took us from the cruise ship that the Cordairs, that's Quaint Cordair Fine Art Gallery, arranged for the arts cruise in 2008 after it was over. Thank you again for the cruise, Linda and Quent. It brought happiness to everyone who went on it.
Wow.
You know, there's a line, one of my very, very favorite lines from Atlas Shrugged is the greatest gift that one person can give to another is the sight of an achievement. And yeah, that's one of my very, very favorites.
Yes. Yes, and yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Incidentally, Lauren says that her father gave her one of the greatest presents, or excuse me, her husband rather. Her husband gave her one of the greatest possible gifts of taking 130 of their CDs and ripping them.
That's great.
And I've gone through that process of digitizing my music, and that is a labor of love. That is no mean feat. That's a tough one.
Yes.
Yeah, 130 plus disc collection. Wow. From back when CDs were sold as monthly. Does everybody remember that? Do you remember the Columbia House record?
Yes. For
offers?
only 1 cent.
For only 1 penny, we'll send you 20 record albums or 20 cassette tapes or 20 CDs. It depends on how old you are, which one of those you got. And that's right. And you're only on the hook to order one per month for the next 12 months. And it worked out great if you actually did just the basics and minimums of what they set you up for. What they were counting on and what mostly happened was folks never canceled. They kept getting sent these things once a month. They was, okay, go ahead and pay for it, whatever. Anyway, great fun, especially in the old days when you had the little stickers with little pictures of the album art on them.
Yeah.
When album art was a big deal.
It was
especially
a big
with
deal.
vinyl, 12-inch record albums. The art was so important.
Double albums.
Double albums and gatefold sleeves.
Ooh.
Yes, of course, we're fans of the band Yes, so with big albums like Tales from Topographic Oceans, and their first live album was a triple vinyl set. And of course, now it's a little bit different with digital. I miss big album art. It's not the same on a 5 1/4-inch slip of paper. Yes. I'm just looking at the
Mary Eileen got some lovely dark chocolate, which is infused with whiskey. That sounds great. It's her new favorite chocolate. That's
Maria
great.
says, I just ordered me a green viola.
That's interesting.
I've been so tempted to buy a violin, which I can't play, but
I thought we had one. But...
we had one, but it warped. It was very cheap.
Oh, right.
And I've been very tempted to
I
order
just
one.
looked up green viola, and I see these violas that are green.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
sure.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, we saw that we saw the plastic trombones. This is great. There's a jazz group that plays, folks who are local know this, at the Henry Ford over Christmas. And lately they've built it's in the old property, but it's a new glass building housing glass exhibits. It's in the building that used to be the open tavern there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, new glass, new building. And they have a jazz trio playing there, and they're playing Christmas songs. And it's a great trio of three good-natured guys, older guys, playing jazz-style Christmas songs, and led by piano and trombone.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have a double bass player, or sometimes they have a sub on electric bass. And the trombone player is just this cheerful, charming guy. And you can tell this because he plays a trombone. And these are pro musicians. He's playing a beautiful trombone. But down on the floor, sitting on trombone stands, are a red trombone and a green trombone. So I think of that with the green viola. And they're plastic trombones. And those of you who play horns know that nowadays in 2021, you can buy plastic trumpets, plastic trombones, and they work. The mouthpiece is, standard mouthpiece, and the valves aren't terrible, or in the trombone, the slide isn't terrible. It works. But the point is, he had three trombones, one of which he played for most of this, but he actually showed us, the red one and the green one work, but they're mostly there for the kids. Mm-hmm. When kids come by, they get a big kick out of seeing these Christmas-colored trombones. So yes, get yourself a green viola. Absolutely. Be creative with this stuff. It doesn't have to be brass. It doesn't have to be silver, or with a viola. It doesn't have to be wood or wood tone. Dark chocolate bar called Nightcap from Mary Lean, infused with whiskey. New favorite chocolate. Love that.
I mentioned that, yep.
Yes.
That's so great. And Jim adds that with regard to, seeing other people happy and giving people the sign of an achievement, he mentions the boy on the bicycle in the scene in The Fountainhead.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Hard Work, and Monadnock Valley.
Yes.
Yes, and Tchaikovsky's first piano concerto. That's kind of how that was set up with that.
Yeah,
Nice.
The opening of Part 4 of The Fountainhead is one of those scenes which, if I ever can't think of a topic for a podcast, I just read that and then swoon on it for 15 minutes.
Yes.
Such a good sequence.
Yes. And Gerard in YouTube, yes, the drum set is a gift for the whole neighborhood. Thankfully, we live at a soundproof house, or pretty much soundproof. Yay. Yes. Yeah, well, you guys are just so wonderful. And Lauren mentions the values of cats and dogs, and that it's so easy to make them happy and to enjoy their happiness. That's absolutely right. I will add bunnies to that mix as well.
Gerard says, a drum set is a gift for the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I just...
That's oh, did you? How
Yeah,
did I miss that?
Oh, I don't know. You're reading.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to catch up on the chat because there's so much good stuff in there.
It is.
Incidentally, Scott, I have had Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness recommended to me, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Whoa.
It's strange that a lot of people will say, oh, you're into prog rock, you're into Yes, you should listen to Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm like, there's no connection there. Yeah, but you'll like it. So I guess I need to finally listen to that album.
But just so you know, in terms of progressive rock, Robert and I really love, we love Yes, we love John Anderson. We love all the iterations of John Anderson, including John and Vangelis, John and Jean-Luc Ponty, I believe.
Yes.
And all sorts of other things.
Good
all
stuff.
Sorts. Every project John Anderson has ever been on, including his solo albums, are just phenomenal. And because, you know what about John Anderson of Yes, is that he has the twinkle in his eye, just like the second Santa that we saw this Christmas.
He does. John Anderson has the
he's truly
extraordinary benevolence.
Yep.
And Lauren did have the best pets, although she says, loved my bunnies, but they were often more stoic, stingy with their binkies.
Oh.
The way that bunnies will do the kind of VTOL, the vertical takeoff and landing. Bunnies are the best. But yeah, we haven't had them in a few years either. We're in between pets right now. We're living that luxury of not having to care for a fur baby.
Yeah, or have somebody else care for them while you're gone on vacation.
And at some point, we will just give in to the yearning and get another bunny.
At some point.
Bunnies are the best.
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us. I did want to talk about giving your own happiness. Achieving happiness is an achievement. It's an accomplishment. And to people who really care about you, seeing you happy is just the best thing. It's the best thing that you can give somebody. And it's kind of the reverse of the insights I've given before. So it was a reminder to me that taking good care of yourself is crucially important if you care about other people.
Right. You know, there's an old story as old as time.
As old as time. Tale as old as time.
About people who are in their 20s or 30s and they're getting into a serious romantic relationship with each other. And one person says to the other, I'm not sure if I deserve you. I feel so down about myself, and I'm not sure if I'm in the right place in life, and yada 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 yada. And it's quite annoying when somebody does that.
Okay.
Because often the other person will say, all I want to do is just see you happy, and I want to support you in your happiness. And when you're down when you're down on yourself, and you tell me that you somehow don't deserve me, that's real turn off. But I gotta say, I've been there, and I think a lot of people have done. A lot of people have been there, and it's okay. It's a growing pain, as it were.
You don't think I'm hot when I'm feeling morose and insecure?
Yeah.
Hey, we've all been there.
So that was definitely a lesson that I had to learn way back when about even if I'm, if things are down in my life, things are going wrong, however, it's really, really, really important to still be joyful and try to find even the little things in life to bring that kind of joie de vivre out in you. It's very important.
Yep. And it can be hard, but as we've observed before, it's when things are at their worst that you got to be at your best.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the post-Christmas discussion. Again, we're looking forward to the new year. We're looking forward to 2022, or as Amy just wants me to say, we're looking forward to 22. I'm looking forward to being 22 years old again. Yeah. And it's going to be a great year. And I hope that you will join us for the journey. Great plans in the book, in the notebook here for next year. I need your input too. Let me know what you would like more of from the show, what direction you'd like to see things move in, if you want to see them longer or shorter, more abstract or more concrete topics. You'd like us to talk about this thing, that other thing we don't usually cover, or more of something that you did enjoy about the show. Let us know in the chat or in the 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir Facebook group, or call me on the phone, send me a greeting card. We're going to keep doing greeting cards. Incidentally, if you didn't get a Christmas card from us this year, I suppose some of them might be running late, but if you don't get one by today or tomorrow, let me know if you'd already given us your address. If you didn't and you'd like a greeting card from us, it's not too late. We're looking at New Year's cards. We're looking at getting some more cards out. We want to connect with you viscerally, on paper, in the real world, out there, and meet space. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. And I hope that if we don't talk to you on Thursday, you have a happy New Year's Eve. We will talk to you next Sunday and wish you a happy New Year. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being... This is the 95th episode of 5 Minutes with Robert Nasir, and some of you have been with us from the beginning. Those of you who are here today, we deeply appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. So much.
You can find links to all of the stuff to do with the show, all the past episodes, all of the themes that we've run. We've done themes on love and life and professional success, all of it at robertnasir.com. If you go to robertnasir.com, you'll also find a link to the current show, easy to share with other people. You'll also find our PayPal and Patreon links if you want to support the show. You can do that, and some of you already do. Thank you from the bottom of our heart and our wallets for that. Part of what made Amy's double bass pedal Christmas present possible was unusually generous contribution that came in
I
during
will
drunken
send you guys the
podcasting.
song when I'm finished with it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And as always, we wish you success. We wish you flourishing. We wish you, here's the Post-it note of the week, we wish you to give happiness by being happy.
Yes.
So my Post-it note for the week just says give happiness. It's my reminder that my happiness is the greatest gift I can give anybody who cares about me. Your happiness is the greatest gift you can give anybody who cares about you. And that's why, as always, we wish you success. We wish you flourishing. We wish you the deepest happiness that comes from knowing you are not only your own greatest value, but you are an enormous value to everybody who loves you. And that's why we wish you love.